All right, here's your 5-minute mobility circuit that will address all key movement patterns that you would use in just about any workout. It'll serve as a dynamic warm-up so you perform better. It activates your shoulders and hips. Plus, I'm going to show some progressions and regressions so you can really challenge yourself and get better throughout this pre-workout routine. First one is the squat to stand. I'm going to show from this position here. Level 1, the easiest way to get into this is to have the feet about hip width apart. I want to slide the hands down. Keep this neutral spine in your back. Stretch from this position. If you can't touch your toes, simply modify by coming into a squat. Reach overhead, stand through the heels. So it's 4 different positions. It's going to be a stretch here, stretch here, stretch here, stand. Hinge pattern, squat pattern, overhead extension, and stand and repeat. Level 2, once we can get full hip range of motion and grab your toes, we keep the same position, slide it down, grab the toes, pull down into the bottom of the squat. Get the elbows inside the knees, really wedge them out. Keep the chin and chest tilted upward here from this position. And then I'm going to stand, pull back on the toes to push the chest out, shift the hips side to side to get those hip rotators going, and then repeat 4 times. Here to here, side to side, and repeat. Level 3, we just go from this squat position, extension, extension, stand, shift the hips side to side. Here, level 4, extension with rotation on each side, stand, shift hips side to side. That's a great one that really is a big bang exercise, hits up everything that you would need in just about any exercise. All right, in exercise number 2, we're lunging, and the best way to learn how to lunge is with our beginning entry level with the split squat. One foot goes in front of the other, interlock your hands, put it behind the head, stay tall with the upper body, and sink the back knee down, ideally to this position. 2 90-degree angles at the bottom, tall. I got a vertical shin so the knee is safe. I press to the heel and stand back up. At the halfway mark, I just switch sides and repeat for time. Now, if you can't get that kind of range of motion, you can modify the movement by doing a partial range of motion using a quarter split squat or even a half split squat. And each time you do this, trying to work on getting more depth, more range of motion, maybe even assist yourself holding onto a bar or a countertop. A TRX suspension trainer works well also until I can get that full range of motion. Once I can, I'm ready to move into lunging, and the easiest lunge is the reverse lunge. This time I start with my feet parallel, still interlocking the hands, step it back, back to the top, lunge it back. So I'm stepping backwards into the bottom of that split squat, and that's easier for me to learn. Level 3, we go forward lunge. More challenging because I have to learn to decelerate. I'm changing my base of support, so it requires a lot more lower body strength and balance. Step it forward, push back, step it forward, push back, alternate for time. Now I can take that even further in a level 4, if you will, doing a double lunge variation where we step forward. Now I'll go single leg on this one. If this is my option, step forward, and now add this cross under or curtsy lunge. So it's a double lunge. Forward, cross under, forward, cross under. Notice this toe always stays in line with the knee. At the halfway mark, I would just switch legs. Here, there's my forward lunge, push back, cross it under, back and forth, and repeat for time. So a double lunge version to really get you going in all planes of movement, get you lunging like a champ. All right, in exercise number 3, we're going lateral lunges. We're working that frontal plane, which are critical to strengthen your outer hips, outer quads, hit up the glutes. Great for fitness and sport. We start lateral squat level 1. Toes are gonna be a little bit more than hip width apart, pointing straight ahead. I wanna push the hips back and to the side into this lateral squat pattern here. Reach out to counterbalance, push to the heel, and alternate sides. The greater flexibility you have in your adductors, the more deeply you'll be able to squat and then push through this heel, activate the hip, and work that side-to-side pattern. Spend a little bit more time on a side that you're a little bit tighter with. Now, level 2 of that, we start feet together, lateral lunge. Lunge out to the side, reach out, push back fast, lunge, push back fast. And again, I'm trying to control the movement down and then pushing back quickly to the heel, which will activate that hip and glute. We make that even harder by working different planes of movement. This is a rotational lunge. I'll start feet again. Now I'm going to open up to the side in that 45-degree angle, push back to the top, lunge, push back to the top. Notice as I lunge back here, this toe is always pointing straight ahead, so when I return back to the top, everything's in alignment. Here and here. Great way of working that pattern. If you want to add even more motion into this, I can go a double lunge version, which would be a rotational lunge into an overhead forward lunge, push back. I would just do one side if I'm doing this version here, and at the halfway mark, I would switch it, open up here, lunge, and then forward with an overhead reach. Again, learning to move in different patterns makes me better in all phases of my fitness. Very applicable to sport. Get after that one. All right, in exercise number 4, we're working on the hip hinge, a challenging move for most individuals who are tight in their hamstrings and hips. Here's a great way to kind of learn through some progressions to get better at it. First, start with the feet hip width apart, take your hands and interlock them, and put them in this natural curve of your back. I'm going to hinge with 2 legs first, and rather than just bending over, I want to think about pushing the hips back as far as I can, ideally until I can get into this tabletop position while still maintaining this natural curve in my back. Stand through the heels, hinge it back, stand through the heels, and repeat for time. Level 2, we challenge ourselves from a stability standpoint by going single leg of the hip hinge. So I'm going to go one leg up, hinge, stand through the heels, and again, I want to get pretty much flat to the floor, stand through the heels. Notice there's a slight flexion in this support leg, so I'm not stiff-legged. Also, studies show that you have better balance if you have a focal point, so placing your eyes about 3 feet out in front of you, so you have some type of point to allow you to kind of have greater stability. Level 3, much like level 2, except now I have the rotational pattern. I'm going to take my opposite arm. I'm still going to keep this right hand in the curve of my back so that I know that I'm not getting rounded because that hand is there. And now hinge, touch the toe, stand, hinge back, touch the toe. Great mobility exercise to improve your balance, work on hamstring flexibility, hip mobility, and to give you better agility. All right, our 5th and final exercise is the mobility push-up to improve core strength, hip and shoulder mobility, get you rocking for all type of planking exercise. We begin on the ground. I want to screw the hands into the floor, slightly more than shoulder width apart, get my feet about hip to shoulder width apart, and I'm going to push my hips up and back into that push-back pike position. Come back into the push-up hold in level 1. Push through the palms, stretch the hamstrings, and really try to drive the arms into that overhead pressing position. Level 2, I just integrate a push-up into the mix. And even if I can't really push that back up to the ceiling, pike, push up. In level 3, I cross one leg over and go single leg. Stretch of the hamstrings and calves into that push up. Halfway I would just switch it, push back into a push up. 5 moves, you're ready to go off for a great workout. It'll improve your performance, improve your mobility, and improve your fitness.